Hi Papercrafters! Welcome to another Design with Jo video. I'm Joanne Rogers, a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Central Alberta, Canada, and I've been designing with you in mind since 1999. Today I have sort of a Jo Tips video for you, but I want to answer the question, what do I need to start rubber stamping? This is in addition to my last video, which you're going to want to make sure you watch, and it's called My Top 5 Items for Paper Crafters. And so I'm going to start with those just really quickly, and then I'm going to talk about 8 items that I think are pretty much must-haves if you are going to want to be rubber stamping. So really quickly, in my last video, and I've got the link right up here called Top 5 Items to Start Paper Crafting, then these were the 5 items that I talked about. And you can go there because you're going to need these in addition to the 8 items that I have for you today. So it's a paper trimmer or cutter of some kind. This is Stampin' Up's version. You need some adhesive for sure, a bone folder, a really good pair of sharp scissors, and this is a silicone craft sheet. So be sure to check out that video because I give you some tips on working with these different things. So the number one thing that you need to be a rubber stamper is paper. And look at all the different kinds of paper you can have. So the first thing that you must have is some really good white, basic white or basic cream paper. And this is actually called basic white. And I would recommend there are 2 different thicknesses of basic white. And if you want your card to stand up and really hold its shape well, then thick basic white for the card base itself is wonderful. I showed you in that last video and I used just regular vanilla I used there. And it's not quite as heavy, so it's great for stamping and putting on a card, but this is fantastic for making the card. So there's white and there's cream, but then of course there's all kinds. There's a rainbow of colors, and this is just a very small sampling of the colors that we have in the Stampin' Up! Families. If you're a blue person, there's a few blues for you. If you love greens, there's a good selection of greens as well. And these come either individually packaged or in color families. And you'll see with Stampin' Up! That we have 4 color families, and you really, whatever you gravitate towards, that's where I would suggest that you start. There's also all kinds of designer papers, and this is just one of the designer papers, and this is one that's current right now, and it's called Sweet Stockings, and it always has all kinds of different designs for you. So the designs you see here, there actually are 6, and I think I've only got 4 there right now, but these ones are great because you can cut them out. You don't need to actually have a stamp that goes along with this. There is one, but you can cut these out or you can use them as backgrounds. But look what's always on the other side. On the other side, you have lots of patterns that you can play with, and they can be a little bit more subtle patterns or they can be big and bold. And so you always want to check out the patterned paper. We call it designer series paper at Stampin' Up! There's also little packets, so there's 6x6 packets, and this is talking about a color family. So this one here is the brights, and you'll see that there are 10 different colors in here, and it's a really great way to get an introduction to the colors. So if you want to find all the colors, I would suggest you get one of these in whichever color family that appeals to you, and then that white cardstock, and you're going to have all kinds of ideas and all kinds of options for stamping. The next thing you need to rubber stamp is you need stamps. So we have a huge variety of rubber stamps out there, and they're not necessarily rubber stamps anymore. So this is you can see here, cling stamp sets, and these ones really are rubber. So what they have is they're made on rubber. They have rubber on one side, then they have a piece of foam, and then they have a label. And you put these together and it's really a very quick process. So these are stamps that are open line, it's called, and then there's stamps here that are a little bit more solid, and this is a photopolymer stamp set. So you can see that I keep all kinds of little things in my cases with my stamps. So photopolymer, they come clear. This one I don't think has been used yet. They start out clear, but they they seem to pick up the pinks and the reds quite a bit. So I've used this one a lot. It's a strawberry, so I've used it on a lot of red, and you can see that it doesn't come clear clean. That doesn't transfer over into, let's say you wanted a green strawberry. It's not going to be green and red mixed together. So it's cool that we have our photopolymer. And then this is another, I just wanted to bring out sort of another option. So this is a little bit more of a vintage look here, but they usually always have wonderful sayings, and you just need to go through the catalog and find the ones that you think you're going to use the most. So now that we have our stamps picked out, we also need something to mount them on. So they can't be used just straight out of the box like this. So these are clear blocks, and you can use these over and over again. And they're nicely rounded and shaped so that they're not going to hurt your fingers, and they have a grip here where your fingers will fit in. So what you do is you just take a stamp and you pick it up, and it's stuck pretty good. This is really good clingy stuff, and you put it right onto your clear block, and you can see it through from the other side. And you would do the exact same thing if you had photopolymer. Okay, so that's the next thing that you need to have. Now, one of the great things about the Stampin' Up! Catalog is it tells you when you buy a stamp set what sizes you need, and it's written in the catalog what ones it suggests. So you can see that there's a bunch of different sizes here, and so it will suggest what sizes, and there might be 3 of the blocks here, so you can get them gradually. So the next thing you need is ink, and black ink is a standard in everybody's toolkit. And all you do is you take your stamped image and you tap it right into your stamp pad. I'm holding the stamp pad just down so that it doesn't move around quite so much. Now, when you have a stamp pad that's a little bit smaller than the stamp, a great way to use it is upside down like this, and then you pat it all over. And then you're just going to stamp, and you hold it straight down, straight up. You don't wiggle it around from side to side. I always hold on to my paper and then lift straight up. Okay, and then you've got your inked impression. And then you color it in with whatever you want. Now, if you love color, then pull in some colors. So there's all kinds. In every color where you saw the paper earlier, there is a stamp pad to match it. So this is just polished pink, blue, balmy blue, evening evergreen. There's all different great names to describe all the colors in the Stampin' Up! World. Now you need some things maybe to help you. So what we have is a grid pad. So this grid pad, you can use it as is, or you can just rip off a piece of paper. It comes with 100 sheets on one pad, and that will do you a long time. Like, this is nice and clean now, but you can get it really dirty before you have to switch off to another one. So when do you want to use your grid paper? Well, I'm going to show you just a little card, or a little front of a card, where we are going to stamp from the Sweet Strawberry stamp set. And I've pulled out this guy here and the little flower, and we are going to ink it up. So here I am turning it over again, and I'm going to stamp that just on the corner, but I don't want all of it to be on there. So I have stamped it so that it's going to be onto the paper as well. So I've done that, and now I'm going to take some of our pink ink, the polished pink, and I'm just going to put a few flowers around here too. So I'm just protecting my work surface. So I could put some words right in there, and I've got a little card front ready to go. This is the strawberry out of that same set. Sometimes when you stamp, you may not get a really great impression. So I didn't get everything in the inside. And a lot of times our photopolymer are made so that you don't necessarily get them inside. But another of the items that I consider to be essential for beginner stampers is our Stampin' Pierce mat. So this is just a piece of heavier foam core, I guess you would call it. And I usually just tuck that underneath, or sometimes I will wrap my grid paper right around the Stampin' Pierce mat as well. And then when I stamp, I'm just able to get a little bit better impression. Can you see the difference there between this one and this one? There's just enough give in this Stampin' Pierce mat that it will create a little bit better impression. So the next thing that I recommend is a Simply Chamois. And this is a brand new one still in the package. And it's actually fairly thick as well. It's almost like this pad, but this is much more flexible. So brand new, this is how pretty it looks. When you use it a little bit, this is how it looks. And this is one that has been used a lot, and it gets use after use. This is the very first one I think that I owned, and I've had this probably a good 4 years. And what you do is you just clean your stamps right on here. So I'm going to take my photopolymer and I'm just going to stamp or clean it, squish it around a little bit. Now that one's hard to see because it was pink, but here I have the evening evergreen still on there. I'm just going to clean that off, and it comes up clean. So this is a great tool to have sitting right beside you. I cut mine in half so that I can use it really easily with the Stamparatus. The last thing that I think that is really necessary for a beginner paper crafter, so a beginner rubber stamper, is our Take Your Pick tool. And this tool is great. So it comes in a package like this, in a box like this. And it has different tips. So it has sort of a spatula tip and a pointy tip. And I always leave my pointy tip on. And then it also has 2 ball tips that you can use for scoring if you wanted. On the other end, which I also always leave on, is a little bit of putty. And this is great for picking up sequins and anything that's small and that you have to place on your cards. Thanks very much for taking a peek at the video today. I hope you found something that's really useful and a tip maybe that you didn't know about paper crafting and rubber stamping. If you'd like to learn more, you can always follow me at www.designwithjo.ca. I have a website where I post regular blog posts with all kinds of tips and tricks and wonderful designs. And if you don't currently get my newsletter, you're going to want to sign up for that over there too. Every week I share all kinds of Stampin' Up! News and all kinds of ideas as well that you're going to want to take a look at. So thanks very much and have a great paper crafting day. Bye-bye.